Where?
The gun in the car.
Where?
The gun in the car.
Oh my fucking God!
Baby in the car, bro. Got a baby in the car. How you feel? She just dropped that shit off. You scared as hell, right? Scared as hell. She ran it, buddy. Scared as hell. Why did you have self-defense? You were trying to self in the car, bro. You're throwing you in the car, bro. What are you talking about? You had her in the headlock. And then you shot her, Cody. I was there. Oh, why did statement?
I want her arrested. They can fucking gun on the street.
Holly Johnson shot Romeca Meeks Blackman in the face on September 8, 2025. 3 months later, prosecutors charged her with first-degree murder. The judge denied bail. Her self-defense claim was rejected. She sits in Cook County Jail awaiting trial. But while Holly sits in silence, someone claiming to speak for the Johnson family has been very loud online. In one comment that has since gone viral, this person wrote 6 words that changed everything. Johnson don't fight. We shoot people in the face. Was this a frustrated outburst from someone tired of online attacks? Or was it an accidental glimpse into how this family really thinks? The internet wants to know. And tonight, we examine what the Johnsons have been saying about the woman Holly killed. 2 weeks after Holly Johnson shot Romeca Meeks Blackman in the face, her family released a statement through legal counsel. They said no member of the Johnson family had provided, authorized, or issued any statements concerning the incident. No comment, no explanation, no accountability. But online, a different story was unfolding. Someone with the Johnson surname was arguing with critics in comment sections. And when the pressure got too intense, she typed words that would haunt this family forever. She wrote, "Johnson don't fight. We shoot people in the face." She later claimed it was frustration. She said she was tired of arguing with ignorant people, but the damage was done. The comments spread across the internet, and now the world is asking a simple question. Is this how the Johnsons handle conflict? Johnson don't fight. We shoot people in the face. Those are the exact words posted online by someone with the Johnson surname after Holly Johnson was indicted for murdering Romeca Meeks Blackman. The comment was meant as a defense, a clapback against critics flooding social media with condemnation. But the words landed like a confession, because Holly Johnson did exactly what this family member described. She shot Romeca in the face 3 times, outside an elementary school, in broad daylight. When another person with the Johnson name saw the comment, she responded with disbelief. She asked, "Why would you say that?" The answer to that question reveals more about this family than any lawyer's statement ever could. Tonight we examine what the Johnsons are saying when they think no one important is listening. 2 weeks after Holly Johnson shot Romeca Meeks Blackman outside her son's elementary school, the Johnson family released their first and only official statement. It came through legal counsel and was reported by Fox 32 Chicago on September 23, 2025. The statement was brief and carefully worded. It said that Quadaja Holly Johnson and her family have not provided, authorized, or issued any statements concerning the incident involving Romeca Meeks Blackman. It continued by noting that the matter remained the subject of an active investigation and that pursuant to the advice of retained legal counsel, no further comment would be made at that time. This is standard practice when someone is facing potential criminal charges. Defense attorneys universally advise their clients and their clients' families to remain silent. Every word spoken publicly can become evidence. Every statement can be dissected by prosecutors looking for inconsistencies. Every comment can be used to establish motive, intent, or consciousness of guilt. The smart play when facing a murder investigation is to say absolutely nothing and let the lawyers handle communication. The Johnson family appeared to understand this principle. Their official statement was the textbook response. It acknowledged nothing. It admitted nothing. It explained nothing. It simply stated that they were not talking and would not be talking until the legal process played out. From a strategic standpoint, this was exactly the right approach. Holly had already made one statement at the scene when she told bystanders that she had a license to carry. She did not need her family members adding to the public record. But while the Johnson family was officially silent, individual members of the family were not silent at all. Social media does not respect legal strategies. Social media does not wait for trials. Social media is a battlefield where public opinion is shaped in real time, and the people attacking Holly Johnson online were relentless. They called her a murderer. They called her evil. They demanded justice for Romeca. They tagged her family members. They flooded comment sections with condemnation, and some members of the Johnson family could not resist responding. The pressure of being associated with someone accused of murder is immense. Family members who had nothing to do with the shooting suddenly found themselves defending someone the public had already convicted. They watched videos of the aftermath circulate. They read comments calling their loved one a cold-blooded killer. They saw strangers on the internet celebrating when Holly was finally arrested. The temptation to fight back, to defend, to explain, must have been overwhelming. Subscribe to this channel and share this video, because what one Johnson family member said online changes everything about how we understand this case. This is where the official silence broke down. Not in press conferences or formal statements, but in comment sections and social media threads. In the spaces where lawyers cannot control what family members type. In the moments of frustration when someone decides they have had enough and needs to respond to the attacks. The Johnson family's carefully constructed wall of silence had a crack, and what leaked through that crack would become one of the most damning pieces of evidence against them in the court of public opinion. The person who broke the silence was not Holly. Holly remained in the background, eventually arrested and charged with first-degree murder, held without bail in Cook County Jail. The person who broke the silence was someone with the Johnson surname who appeared to be defending the family honor online, and the words she chose to use would haunt this family far longer than any official statement ever could. When you tell the world that your family does not fight, but instead shoots people in the face, you have said something that no lawyer can unsay. You have revealed something about family culture that no press release can contradict. And when the person you are defending literally shot someone in the face, your words sound less like frustrated venting and more like a confession of shared values. The comment appeared in a social media thread where people were discussing the Romeca Meeks Blackman case. Critics of Holly Johnson were voicing their opinions about what had happened. They were calling it murder. They were demanding accountability. They were saying the things that people say when a young mother is shot in the face outside her child's school. And someone with the Johnson surname decided she had heard enough. Her response was direct and defiant. She wrote that she got tired of arguing with ignorant people. She said she just started telling people that Johnson don't fight. She said we shoot people in the face. Then she asked what anyone was going to do about it. These were her exact words captured in the comment. Johnson don't fight. We shoot PPL-NDA face. The spelling was casual, the way people type when they are angry and typing fast. But the message was clear. Another person with the Johnson surname saw the comment and responded immediately. Her reaction was disbelief. She wrote, "Wait, what?" and asked, "Why would you say that?" This was not the response of someone who agreed with the statement. This was the response of someone horrified that a family member had typed those words in a public forum where anyone could see them. She understood immediately that this comment was a problem. The original commenter acknowledged that she had gone too far. She replied that she knew it was wrong. She explained that she was just frustrated because people were saying real nasty things about the family. She said she ignores the critics now, suggesting that she had learned her lesson about engaging with strangers online. But the comment was already out there. Screenshots had been taken. The words had been preserved. The context matters, but it does not change the impact. Yes, she was frustrated. Yes, people were attacking her family online. Yes, she was probably exhausted from defending someone the entire internet seemed to hate. These are understandable human emotions. Anyone who has had a family member accused of something terrible knows how painful it is to watch strangers condemn someone you love. The instinct to fight back is natural, but the words she chose reveal something deeper than frustration. She did not say Holly made a mistake. She did not say this was self-defense and the truth will come out. She did not say we are praying for everyone involved. She said Johnson don't fight. We shoot people in the face. She framed violence as a family characteristic. She framed shooting people in the face as the Johnson way of handling conflict. She used the word we, including herself and presumably the entire family in this description. If you are following this case closely, drop the words "I am still here" in the comments so I know who is watching this investigation unfold. This is not what innocent families say. This is not how people who believe in their loved one's self-defense claim express themselves. Families who believe their member acted in legitimate self-defense say things like, "She had no choice," or "She was protecting herself." They do not brag about shooting people in the face as a family tradition. They do not frame lethal violence as their preferred method of conflict resolution. The other Johnson who responded with disbelief seemed to understand this instinctively. Her question, "Why would you say that?" carried the weight of someone watching a family member make a catastrophic mistake in real time. She knew these words would spread. She knew they would be used against Holly. She knew they would become part of the narrative. And she was right. The comment has since circulated widely. It has been screenshot and shared. It has been discussed in videos and forums dedicated to following this case. It has become evidence not in a legal sense, but in the sense that shapes how the public understands who the Johnson family really is. And it raises a question that demands an answer. Is this how the Johnsons think? Words matter, especially when they describe exactly what happened. Holly Johnson shot Romeca Meeks Blackman in the face. This is not disputed. This is not alleged. This is documented fact. The bullet struck Romeca's face, her side, and her thigh. The headshot was the most devastating wound. Holly Johnson shot a woman in the face, and now a person with the Johnson surname is online telling the world that shooting people in the face is what Johnsons do. The alignment between the comment and the crime is impossible to ignore. If someone from another family had made this comment about a different case, it might be dismissed as dark humor or frustrated venting. But this comment was made by someone appearing to defend Holly Johnson, and it describes exactly the method Holly used to kill Romeca. It does not say Johnsons defend themselves. It does not say Johnsons stand their ground. It says Johnsons shoot people in the face. The specificity is chilling. The use of the word "we" is significant. The commenter was not speaking for herself alone. She was speaking for the family. She was describing what she believes to be a collective family identity. Johnsons do not fight, meaning they do not engage in physical altercations that might result in mutual combat. Instead, they escalate directly to lethal force. They skip the fight and go straight to the gun, and they aim for the face, the most personal and destructive target on the human body. Consider what this reveals about family culture if taken at face value. It suggests that within the Johnson family, shooting someone in the face is not considered an aberration or a tragedy. It is considered normal, expected, the Johnson way. If a family member is in conflict, you do not expect them to argue or push or even punch. You expect them to pull a gun and shoot their opponent in the face. This is presented not as something to be ashamed of, but as something to be proud of. Johnson don't fight. We shoot PPL NDA face. There is defiance in those words, almost pride. Compare this to what an innocent family typically says when a member is accused of murder. They say this is out of character. They say she would never do something like this. They say there must be some explanation because this is not who she is. They express shock that their loved one could be involved in something so terrible. They do not describe the alleged crime as consistent with family values. They do not frame it as business as usual. Thank you for watching this investigation. If you want to support this channel and help us continue covering cases like this, please like, subscribe, and share this video with others who deserve to know the truth. The comment also undermines Holly's self-defense claim in a subtle but important way. Self-defense is supposed to be a last resort. It is supposed to be what happens when you have no other choice. Someone claiming self-defense typically emphasizes how scared they were, how they tried to avoid the confrontation, how they never wanted to hurt anyone. They do not have family members online bragging about how their family shoots people in the face as a matter of course. The comment suggests that violence is not a last resort for the Johnsons but a first instinct. Even if the commenter was just frustrated and speaking carelessly, the words she chose came from somewhere. They reflect something she believes, or at least something she wanted her critics to believe. In that moment of anger, she reached for words that she thought would make her family sound tough and intimidating. And the words she reached for were about shooting people in the face. That choice reveals her mental framework. That choice reveals what she thinks strength looks like. That choice reveals how violence is conceptualized within her understanding of family identity. The comment may have been typed in frustration, but its implications will last forever. The contrast between how the Johnson family has conducted itself online and how Romeca's family has conducted itself could not be more stark. While someone with the Johnson surname was typing comments about shooting people in the face, Romeca's family was focused on something entirely different. They were focused on justice. They were focused on their grandson. They were focused on honoring Romeca's memory with dignity rather than inflammatory rhetoric. Tina McMiller is Romeca's mother. She has spoken publicly several times since her daughter's death, and her words have been consistent. She has expressed grief. She has demanded accountability. She has described the pain of losing her youngest child. But she has not attacked the Johnson family with personal insults. She has not made inflammatory comments designed to provoke. She has stayed focused on what matters, which is ensuring that the person who killed her daughter faces justice. At Holly's detention hearing, Tina spoke to reporters. She said she wanted justice so she could have peace of mind. She acknowledged that justice would not bring Romeca back, but said it would provide some peace. She described the 3 months between the shooting and the arrest as painful and terrible. She said the family had been torn apart. She called Romeca one of the leaders of their family, noting that even though she was the baby, she was the leader. Through all of this grief, Tina maintained composure and dignity. Dreca is Romeca's sister. She also spoke at the detention hearing, and her focus was entirely on Romeca's son. The little boy was 6 years old when his mother was killed. He turned 7 just days after the shooting while still asking where his mom was. Dreca's statement was about protecting him. She said Carlos may be hurt for the rest of his life, but that the family makes sure he sees rainbows in his clouds. She said, nothing he needs is beyond what they can provide. She called him a superstar like his mom, and said he would show her better than he could tell her. This is what a grieving family sounds like. This is how people speak when they are processing unimaginable loss. They talk about the victim. They talk about the children left behind. They talk about justice and healing and moving forward. They do not brag about violence. They do not make threats. They do not post comments that could be interpreted as celebrating or normalizing the method by which their loved one was killed. Jaleesa Noe sent a letter to the Cook County State's attorney on behalf of Romeca's family. The letter was detailed and specific. It outlined the evidence the family believed existed. It named Carlos as a co-conspirator. It requested minute-by-minute analysis of phone records and movements on the morning of the shooting. It was the work of a family determined to pursue justice through proper channels. It was not the work of people seeking revenge through online attacks. The difference in approach reveals the difference in character. Romeca's family has every reason to be angry. They have every reason to lash out. They have every reason to post inflammatory comments about Holly and her family. Their daughter and sister was shot in the face while dropping her child off at school. If anyone has earned the right to be furious and express that fury publicly, it is them. But they have chosen a different path. They have chosen dignity. They have chosen to let the legal system work. They have chosen to focus on little Carlos and on honoring Romeca's memory. They have not given Holly's defense team ammunition by posting comments that could be used against them. They have not undermined their own credibility by engaging in online battles. The Johnsons could learn something from Romeca's family about how to conduct yourself when tragedy strikes. Before Romeca was killed, Holly had already involved her family in the conflict. Court records reveal that in December 2024, Holly filed for a stalking and no-contact order against Romeca. The basis for this order was significant. According to prosecutors, Holly claimed that Romeca had made verbal threats to her through members of her family. Not direct threats from Romeca to Holly. Threats allegedly communicated through Johnson family members. This detail is important for understanding the dynamics at play before the shooting. It suggests that the conflict between Holly and Romeca was not limited to the two women. Family members on Holly's side were apparently involved in some capacity, at least according to Holly's own claims in the protection order filing. They were allegedly receiving or transmitting threats. They were part of the communication chain. They were participants in the escalating tension between the two women who shared children with the same man. The protection order was granted in July 2025 but was never served to Romeca. This means Romeca may not have even known the order existed when she encountered Holly and Carlos on September 8th. She may not have known that showing up in proximity to Holly could be framed as a violation. She may not have understood that legal machinery was being assembled against her. Romeca's family has alleged that these protection orders were an attempt to create a paper trail against Romeca, a legal strategy designed to establish Holly as the victim before any confrontation occurred. If you have learned something from this investigation, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share it with someone who has been following this case. Prosecutors revealed another significant detail at Holly's detention hearing. They stated that Holly had never actually met Romeca in person before the morning of the shooting. Think about that for a moment. Holly filed protection orders against someone she had never met face-to-face. She claimed to be receiving threats through family members from a woman she had never personally encountered. And then, on the first occasion, when she did encounter Romeca in person, she shot her in the face. The involvement of family members in the pre-shooting conflict takes on new significance in light of the comment about shooting people in the face. If Johnson family members were already part of the communication dynamic between Holly and Romeca, if they were already invested in this conflict, if they were already transmitting messages and perhaps escalating tensions, then the violence that occurred on September 8th did not emerge from a vacuum. It emerged from a family system that was actively engaged in the conflict. The protection order filing also raises questions about how the Johnson family conceptualized this situation. Was Romeca truly a threat to Holly's safety? Or was she simply an inconvenient presence in the complicated arrangement of Carlos having children with multiple women? The filing claimed verbal threats but no acts of violence. Holly acknowledged that Romeca had never been physically violent toward her. Yet Holly armed herself with a handgun, obtained a concealed carry license, and showed up at the location where Romeca would be dropping off her son. Carlos drove Holly to that location. He knew Romeca would be there. He was subject to a restraining order that Romeca had against him. The family system around Holly facilitated this confrontation. Whether it was coordinated or coincidental, the result was a meeting that ended with Romeca shot in the face and Holly claiming self-defense against a woman she had allegedly never met before that moment. The protection order claims show that family was always part of this story. The threats allegedly came through family members. The conflict involved family members. And now, after the killing, family members are online posting comments about how Johnsons shoot people in the face. The pattern is consistent. The family is enmeshed in this tragedy at every level. Since her arrest on December 3, 2025, Holly Johnson has maintained public silence. She appeared at her detention hearing and was ordered held without bail. She is due back in court for continued proceedings. But she has not given interviews. She has not posted on social media. She has not offered her version of events beyond the initial self-defense claim made at the scene. From a legal strategy perspective, Holly is doing exactly what her lawyers would advise. She is keeping quiet and letting the legal process unfold. This silence is smart. Anything Holly says publicly can be used against her at trial. Prosecutors would love nothing more than for Holly to make statements that contradict evidence or reveal information about her state of mind. Every word a defendant speaks before trial is a potential weapon for the prosecution. Holly or her legal team clearly understands this, and she has remained disciplined in her silence. But while Holly stays quiet, people appearing to be her family members have been anything but silent. The comment about shooting people in the face is the most dramatic example, but it is part of a broader pattern of family engagement online. While the official family statement claimed they were not providing statements, individual members were clearly active on social media. They were reading what people said about Holly. They were feeling the pressure of public condemnation, and some of them were responding. This creates a dangerous disconnect between legal strategy and family behavior. Holly can be perfectly silent, but if her family members are online making inflammatory comments, the damage is still done. Prosecutors may not be able to use a family member's comment directly against Holly in most circumstances, but they can certainly use it to understand family dynamics and potentially call family members as witnesses. They can use it to shape their narrative about the kind of environment Holly comes from and the values she was raised with. Thank you for your continued support of this channel. If you want to see more coverage of this case as it develops, make sure you are subscribed and have notifications turned on. Defense attorneys often counsel not just their clients, but their clients' families about the importance of silence during criminal proceedings. They warn that anything posted online can be discovered. They explain that opposing counsel monitors social media. They emphasize that even well-intentioned comments can be twisted and used against the defendant. Whether Holly's lawyers gave this counsel to her family is unknown. What is clear is that at least one family member did not follow it. The comment about shooting people in the face is now permanently part of the public record of this case. It has been screenshot, shared, discussed, and analyzed. It will be referenced in videos like this one. It will be mentioned in comment sections whenever someone discusses the case. It will shape how the public perceives not just Holly, but her entire family. All because someone could not resist responding to critics online. The contrast with Romeca's family is instructive. Romeca's family has been public in their pursuit of justice, but they have been careful in their language. They have not made statements that could undermine their credibility or be used against their interests. They have stayed on message about justice and healing. They have protected their public image while still advocating forcefully for accountability. Holly is fighting for her freedom. She is facing first-degree murder charges that could result in decades in prison. She needs every advantage she can get. And her family members are online undermining her by posting comments that make the entire family look violent and remorseless. Whatever frustration prompted that comment, it was not worth the damage it caused to Holly's public image and potentially to her. Legal case. Silence was the strategy. Some family members did not get the memo. Carlos is the man at the center of this tragedy. He fathered children with both Romeca and Holly. He was present at the scene when Romeca was shot. He was allegedly the one who put Romeca in a chokehold while Holly retrieved her weapon. He was allegedly the one who fist-bumped Holly after the shooting. He was covered in Romeca's blood when police arrived. And after Holly's detention hearing, he finally spoke publicly about what happened. His statement to Fox 32 was brief but revealing. He said that when he heard the allegations presented in court, he was just looking and that it was unbelievable. He insisted that he was there and knew for a fact that none of that happened how they just explained it. He said his truth would come out and that he hoped everybody would understand. He acknowledged that he could not say too much, because it would feel like he was going against one side or the other. He concluded by noting that they were going against him and he was just trying to navigate the situation. The phrase, "my truth," is significant, not the truth. My truth. This framing suggests that Carlos sees multiple versions of events as valid and that his version is just one among many. But there is only one truth about what happened on September 8th. Either Carlos put Romeca in a chokehold, or he did not. Either he slammed a car door on her repeatedly, or he did not. Either he and Holly fist-bumped after the shooting, or they did not. These are binary questions with factual answers, not matters of perspective where everyone has their own truth. Carlos's claim that he could not say much because it would seem like going against one side or the other reveals the impossible position he is in. He is the father of Romeca's now orphaned son. He is also the partner of the woman who killed Romeca. He cannot fully support Romeca's family without implicating Holly. He cannot fully support Holly without betraying Romeca's memory. So he tries to stay neutral, which satisfies no one and makes him look evasive. If you want to see justice for Romeca, share this video with everyone following this case. Public attention is what drove prosecutors to finally file charges after 90 days of delay. The eyewitness testimony contradicts Carlos's suggestion that things did not happen as prosecutors described. The woman from the 21 bus provided detailed accounts of Carlos slamming Romeca with the car door, grabbing her by the waist, putting her in a headlock, and announcing that Holly was going to get her gun. Multiple witnesses reported similar observations. Prosecutors presented this testimony under oath at the detention hearing. The judge found it credible enough to deny bail and reject Holly's self-defense claim entirely. Carlos is in legal jeopardy himself. He has not been charged, but prosecutors clearly believe he played an active role in Romeca's death. The allegations about the chokehold and fist bump came from prosecutors, not from social media speculation. If evidence supports these allegations, Carlos could face charges as an accomplice. His claim that his truth will come out sounds less like confidence and more like desperation. What truth could Carlos possibly offer? That would exonerate him. That he did not hold Romeca while Holly got the gun? That would contradict multiple eyewitnesses. That he did not fist bump Holly after the shooting? That would contradict what prosecutors claim witnesses saw. That he tried to stop the shooting? No one has suggested he made any effort to prevent what happened. His truth, whatever it is, faces an uphill battle against the evidence that has already been presented. Carlos and Holly and the Johnson family all seem to have their own truths about September 8th. But Romeca cannot speak for herself. She cannot offer her truth. She is dead. And the people who killed her are still trying to spin the narrative in their favor. The comment about shooting people in the face did not stay in the thread where it was posted. It spread. Screenshots circulated on social media platforms where people were following the Romeca Meeks Blackman case. It was shared in Facebook groups, posted on Twitter threads, discussed in TikTok, videos, and analyzed in YouTube content. The comment became evidence, not in the legal sense, but in the sense that it shaped public understanding of who the Johnson family is. The internet's response was swift and brutal. People who had already concluded that Holly was guilty saw the comment as confirmation of their suspicions. Here was someone appearing to speak for the Johnson family, openly admitting that shooting people in the face was their way of handling conflict. The comment validated the narrative that Holly had not acted in self-defense but had acted according to family culture. It suggested that the shooting was not an aberration, but an expression of deeply held values. Critics of the Johnson family seized on the comment as proof that they were remorseless. They pointed out that no one in Holly's family had publicly expressed remorse for Romeca's death. No one had acknowledged the tragedy of a mother being killed in front of her son's school. No one had offered condolences to Romeca's family. Instead, family members were online arguing with critics and boasting about shooting people in the face. The optics could not have been worse. Some defended the commenter by noting that she had apologized and acknowledged she was wrong to say it. They argued that one frustrated comment should not define an entire family. They pointed out that people say things they do not mean when they are angry and being attacked online. These defenses had some merit. The commenter did acknowledge she should not have said it. She did explain that she was frustrated by nasty comments. She did say she now ignores the critics. But the damage was already done. In the age of screenshots, nothing posted online ever truly disappears. The comment exists in permanent form, preserved by people who saved it before any deletion could occur. It will be referenced whenever the Johnson family is discussed. It will be mentioned in coverage of Holly's trial. It will be part of the historical record of this case. The comment also reinforced the fist bump allegation. Prosecutors claimed that Holly and Carlos fist bumped after Romeca was shot, celebrating while she lay bleeding. Carlos denied this, calling it a lie. But if Johnson family culture includes shooting people in the face as a point of pride, then celebrating after such a shooting becomes more believable. The comment and the fist bump allegation fit together to paint a picture of a family that not only commits violence, but celebrates it afterward. The internet can be merciless in its judgment. It can take a single comment and build an entire narrative around it. Fair or not, the Johnson family is now defined in the public mind by those words. Johnson don't fight. We shoot PPL NDA face. This is what people remember. This is what people reference. This is the legacy that one frustrated comment created. Public opinion does not determine guilt in a court of law. Holly will be judged by a jury based on evidence presented at trial, not by comments made by family members on social media. But public opinion does matter. It influences how witnesses remember events. It influences how potential jurors might view the defendant before they even enter the courtroom. It influences whether prosecutors feel pressure to pursue maximum charges. The court of public opinion has already rendered its verdict on the Johnson family, and that comment played a significant role in that verdict. What does it mean when a family member says Johnson don't fight, we shoot people in the face? Even accounting for frustration and the pressure of online attacks, these words came from somewhere. They reflect something about how at least one person in the Johnson family conceptualizes family identity and conflict resolution. And that something is deeply troubling. The comment normalizes lethal violence. It presents shooting people in the face not as a last resort or a tragic necessity, but as a defining characteristic. It is who we are. It is what we do. The phrasing does not suggest reluctance or regret. It suggests pride. It suggests that being the kind of family that shoots people in the face is preferable to being the kind of family that fights with fists. The escalation from physical altercation to homicide is presented as an upgrade, not a catastrophe. If this is truly how some members of the Johnson family think, then Holly's actions on September 8th take on a different meaning. They become not an individual losing control in a moment of fear, but an individual acting according to family programming. When confronted with conflict, she did what Johnsons do. She skipped the fight. She went straight to the gun. She shot her opponent in the face. The comment suggests that Holly was not deviating from family values, but expressing them. The fist bump allegation reinforces this interpretation. If Holly and Carlos celebrated after the shooting, they were treating Romeca's death as an accomplishment rather than a tragedy. They were behaving like people who had done something worth commemorating. They were acting consistent with a family culture that takes pride in shooting people in the face. The celebration makes sense if you believe the comment represents genuine family values. It makes no sense if you believe Holly acted reluctantly in self-defense. Thanks for watching this entire video. Your support means everything. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share so that Romeca's story continues to be told and justice continues to be pursued.